Have you been feeling unsettled lately? You're not anxious, you're not really afraid, but just that feeling of being unsettled. You have a sense that something is next for you, something stirring. You're not sure what it is, and you're certainly not sure how to get there, but you have that feeling of unsettledness. Or maybe, some doors have been closing in an area of your life, and that's an indication of something. Maybe you've had some major relational shifts that are occurring, or maybe what you've been doing in your personal life or your professional life, which was once fulfilling, it was very satisfying, you're finding that it no longer is. Well, all of those may not be signs that you are stuck. They're actually maybe signs that you're moving into something next. They're preparing you, or I say setting you up for your next season. As I've guided hundreds of people into their next seasons, their next chapter of life, and as I've gone through many of those transitions in my own life to get to my next season, I would suggest that's exactly what's happening in your life right now. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to give you 7 indicators that you're being prepared to move into your next season. So don't miss this. This is so important for many people. When they move into their next season, their next chapter, it becomes the most focused, most fruitful, and most fulfilling season in their life. So let's read the indicators now and see if it isn't pointing you toward your next season. Now, some of these are internal and some of them are external. We'll do both, but let me give you the first one. And the first one is simply boredom. You're simply bored. You know there's more for you. There's more for your marriage or your family or your personal or your professional life. You know there's something more, but right now you're simply bored with life. You've kind of gotten drawn into the drudgery of life, the routine of life, the treadmill of life. And I'd like to say, we're still sucking in air. We're still taking up space on the planet, but we're not really living. I think there's an image that helps us to think about this. I kind of put 2 images together. One is the image that we're on a treadmill. It's the ongoing loop of life. It's the routine of life. It's kind of the responsibility and the drudgery of life. We're on that treadmill. But at the same time that we're on the treadmill, we also have a hammer on the treadmill, and we're playing the old game called the whack-a-mole game, where a mole comes up in a hole everywhere. So as we're walking on the treadmill, we're also reacting to life. So it's actually both the routine, the treadmill, and it's the whack-a-mole game. It's the reaction of what's coming up in life. This was part of my life for a long time before I moved into my next season. I got up at the same time every morning, did my same morning routine, left the house at the same time, dropped my son off at the same school at the same hour, went right down the road to the same coffee shop, had the same order of coffee and a blueberry muffin, drove right on down the road to my same office, got behind my same desk, and really did my same task day after day after day. If you're in a season of boredom, it's routine and reaction. This may be an indicator that's pointing you toward the next season and to moving you to your next chapter. The second indicator is a lack of vision. You no longer have vision for your life. I love the definition of vision. Vision is a picture of a preferable future that produces passion. That can be in our personal life or in our professional life. It's kind of that vision, that goal on the wall. Helen Keller once said, the thing that's worse about being blind, listen to this, is having sight but no vision. You simply have lost vision for your life. You're kind of going through, you're looking down to the ground, kind of trudging through life. You're kind of stuck in the mire of life. You're very seldom looking up, having vision, moving in the direction, wondering what's next. Oftentimes, a person who loses vision for the life, it's actually a stirring, and you're getting set up to move you to say, hey, there's something next for you. Let's find some new direction. Let's not get stuck in life. Let's move ahead. That's the second indicator of moving into your next season. Before I give you the third indicator, if this is helpful for you, if you're resonating with this, my team and I, we put together a PDF on what we call the Convergence zone. It's helping a person move into their next season. And it gives you, again, more indicators, but also gives you steps of how to move into that. So if you'd like that, simply hit the link below and get that PDF, and it'll help you to move ahead as I'm giving you these other indicators as well. Let me give you number 3. Number 3 would be you have limited faith. Meaning to grow, to move ahead, it takes risk. There's risk involved. And when we get in a season where we're kind of hit a plateau, we've lost vision and we're bored, we also have limited faith. Why? Because we've walked around on the same terrain, you might say, for so long. It's so familiar, we could actually walk around on it with blindfolds on, and we wouldn't have any danger of falling off. Why? Because we know it. It's the same O, it's the same O, it's the same O, it's the same O. But to move ahead into our next season, it takes faith. There's action involved. There's risk involved. There's uncertainty involved. It pushes us out of our comfort zone. I love comfort, and many people do, and it will keep them stuck because it's going to take faith to move into what actually may be next for you. So the 3 indicators so far: boredom. 2 is a lack of vision. 3 is we move into having limited faith. And the 4th one is what I call diminishing flow. And here's how this happens. Areas where there's been an enablement, I would say there's been a grace, there's been a fluidity to do something, that starts to dry up. What we've been doing becomes more challenging, and not only more challenging, but actually less fulfilling. That's an indicator of what I call a diminishing flow. There's been a grace, G-R-A-C-E, shift in our life. I call it the 2 faucets on a sink idea. The one faucet where there's been a flow starts to be shut down. It's being pulled back and shut down. There's limited flow. And there's then another area in our life that starts to open up on the other faucet where there's grace that's happening there. So this one's shutting down and this one is opening up. Again, I call that diminishing flow. It's a major indicator. I've coached hundreds through this process. This is one of the indicators that many people go, yes, Ken, you're right, I understand it. This happened to me many years ago. I was still pastoring at the time, had been pastoring for almost 33 years, but I had written a book called Staying Power, 5 Core Ideas to Sustainability in Christian Leadership. And it was really about how do we as Christian leaders stay on this journey on the long haul. And what happened is I was still pastoring, a senior pastor of a church, but when I would go to a workshop and do this material for leaders, I would have a increased flow. It was like, there is a grace here. I still had grace to pastor, but I could tell it was being limited. That faucet was turning down and this faucet was turning up. And it was one of the indicators that caused me to move out of pastoral ministry and move into coaching, which I've been doing over the last decade for leaders. And one of the indicators was, a pointing in the direction was, there was a diminishing flow, or there's what I also call a grace shift. This grace in my life was waning. This grace in my life was actually being accelerated. That's a major another indicator. The 5th indicator that could be pointing you that you're on the road to your next season is dissatisfaction. We're just discontent. We're trying to endure. We're trying to be joyful. We're trying to persevere. And we've done that for a long time because we know that the Bible says, in all things we need to be content. So we're trying to be content. This is why I call this holy dissatisfaction. Because no matter how much we try to be content, there's this stirring, there's this holy dissatisfaction that this season is over for us and that there is something next. I love to use the illustration. They say an eagle, when he or she wants to get the eaglets out of the nest, they start to take all the fluff out, all of the downing out, all of the soft leaves out, and they try to make the nest uncomfortable so they're no longer satisfied just being there, being fed, so that the eaglets will have to then fly. They're learning how to fly and they have to leave the nest. Now listen, God does that with us sometimes. He makes us discontent in the right way. He makes us have holy dissatisfaction. Why? Because like an eaglet, he wants to say to us, it's time to move on. It's time to fly. I've got something for you that's in your next season and in your next chapter. Again, if this is helpful for you, hit the link below. Get the PDF about Convergence. This will further help you as you understand what Convergence is, what this next season is, and how to move into it. So it's an easy tool to help you move in this direction. Now let me give you indicator number 6. Indicator number 6 is conflict. Now, generally, we always think of conflict as negative, but conflict doesn't necessarily have to be negative. It can be one of these signs that God is telling us there's something next and it's time to move into that. This conflict happens on 2 different levels. One, it happens on the internal level. We have angst, we have irritability, we have growing frustration. We're not exactly even sure why, but internally there's an internal conflict that just doesn't go away. But there's just this internal conflict that's telling us, hey, I'm getting your attention. There's something next. This is an indicator. So it's not only internal conflict, but it can also be external conflict. We start having conflict with the organization we're with, the team we're with, the church staff that we're on, the business we're involved in, whatever it may be. It's been good for a long time, and then conflicts start to happen. Again, sometimes this is not only negative, sometimes it's an indicator that it's time to move on. The way we've been doing things are no longer going to be adequate for what's next for us in our next season. And so there's a stirring, there's a conflict that begins to happen. And then the 7th and the final indicator is we start to drift or we start to regress. It takes energy and focus to grow. And when we get bored in life and lack of vision in life and limited faith in life, what can happen? We can just kind of start drifting. Whatever happens, whatever happens. Our daily motto kind of becomes whatever. Are we supposed to do this? I don't know, whatever. We become very passive. What do you think's next for you in your life? I don't know, whatever. And what happens, we begin to let life, which sometimes can beat us up, but once it beats us up, it just kind of pushes us around and we start to drift with life. There's no direction toward what is next. But drifting and passivity usually will also lead to us regressing in life. And to me, it's like a little kid riding a bike up a steep hill. And if they run out of energy and they can't keep pedaling, what happens? Usually they stall. And then once they stall, they start going backwards. And that's what happens with so many people. If they don't move into their next season, they will just start to drift in life, whatever, and or they'll actually start to regress in life. So these 7 indicators are pointing you, I believe, towards your next season or preparing you or setting you up. Hey, there's something next for you. So we have boredom, lack of vision, limited faith, diminishing flow, dissatisfaction, conflict, and drifting or regressing. Now, why is this so important? I can't communicate it strongly enough. Again, I've done this with many people through coaching and guiding them. I've had to do it several times in my own life. Here's why. For many, many, many people, when they move into their next season or their next chapter, it becomes the most focused, fruitful, and fulfilling season in their life. I call this the convergence zone. And again, it's the idea that there are different realities already in our life of who we have become. And there's indicators of our next assignment, and they're starting to converge, come together. That brings us into our convergence zone. These 7 indicators get our attention. Hey, Ken, there's something next. Don't stop here. Don't stall out here. Move into your next season. Move into your convergence zone. So if this has resonated with you, some of these indicators, they won't be all of them, but several of them will be. You'll be, aha, I think that's what's happening in my life. Here's 3 clear ways that we can help. Number 1, watch this next video. It's 5 steps to discovering your next season. So first you have to discover it. Then you have to know how to move into it. So this next video, 5 steps to discover your next season. Download the PDF on Convergence. It will give you some more thoughts and ideas. And then also number 3, my whole life right now is dedicated to helping followers of Jesus navigate defining moments in life and leadership. This is a defining moment, so that you don't stall out, so you don't get stuck, so you can ultimately stay on the right path, the right track to finish well. So subscribe to this channel. We'll have ongoing videos on this and all types of defining moments so you can ultimately finish well. Hopefully this has been helpful. 7 indicators. Take note of them. Move into your next season.